Now, what I find really interesting is the higher the income level is, the more the kind of dreams and aspiration you have with wealth actually match creating more wealth. Yeah. The lower your income level tends to be, the more your aspirations actually create poverty. And we'll show you exactly how that works and how to switch the mindset around. There's, by the way, nothing wrong with anything on this list. Nothing. Right? It's just the way people traditionally fund them will either make them rich or poor. Now, I want to make you a couple of promises as a result of what we'll be doing here. Right? The first promise is, I'm going to show you exactly how the super rich think to avoid certain things on this list impoverishing them. So they can still have them, but in a way that actually does not, they don't risk losing it all. I'm going to show you how to spot opportunities in the very same mindset so that you're freed to enjoy things without having to worry about it. The key thing here is financial freedom. For me, the idea of financial freedom is not necessarily having $1 million in the bank. In fact, that's probably the worst place to have it. It's to be able to risk the rest of your life on whatever standard of living you like without having to work again. Now, if you choose to work, that's one thing. Then you can do your research, you can start a microbank, you can do whatever it is you want. But the point is, financial freedom comes before wealth. You see, a lot of people think they need to reach up and find all these fantastic things, live this amazing lifestyle and so on. And again, let me emphasize, there's nothing wrong with this lifestyle. But the problem is, on the way there, if people miss the financial freedom step, then this is very temporary. And it'll be there one day and gone the next.
Is that why people who win the lottery tend to lose all of it?
Exactly. So we're coming on to that as we go through the thing. And this is a well-documented case. Most people who win the lottery or come into a sudden inheritance or big money, within, usually it's within a year or so, sometimes it's within 2 or 3 years, they don't just come back to the position they were in before they started, they're usually worse off. And it has to do with a mental blueprint of what money is, how it works, what it does, and what you do with it. It has to do with a mental blueprint about how much money you're allowed to have. What I'd like to do is show you what that blueprint is, show you where the mistakes are that most people have, show you why people, even if they're earning $1 million incomes, can still be on the poverty line, and how to switch that around. Go ahead.
When I was a financial advisor, I worked for the bank of the Florida lottery. Mm-hmm. So people were paid with a bank check, and we got to advise a lot of those people. And it was very common. They had one lottery that people would win $500,000 or $600,000, enough money to change a lot of lives. Mm-hmm. But of the ones that I worked with, there was only one who kept that money for more than about 18 months. Right. They normally had, and we would advise them, think about how much you need that you want to spend, and then we would suggest, well, do twice that. You know, they would say, well, I just want to keep 30,000. We'd say, keep 60. Mm-hmm. And then we would talk about investing the rest. But within literally months, they would have blown through all of the 60. They would be calling up, selling these theoretically life-changing long-term investments that they had. And usually within 12 to 18 months, it was all gone. And they've done studies that show people who win those types of lotteries, particularly the one-time payment lotteries, are worse off mentally because now they have the scar of having had all of that, and now that it's disappeared and they're looking back and thinking that they've blown it all.
Now, we'll come on to that. And there's a lot of beliefs around money, about wealth, people who have money, good, bad, and indifferent. One of the key ideas I want you to have is that money does not make you good or bad. And we will explore exactly how that works as we investigate the mindset, the blueprints, and so on. What money does do is it throws fuel on whatever fire is already burning. If you're a good person, money will make you great. If you're a bad person or have a little dodgy streak inside you, it will expose that flaw. It'll make that worse. And you see this happening all the time with people who suddenly get very rich. Their flaws get exposed because they never had a chance to work on them, and it amplifies things. So to the extent that you're willing to just work on yourself as an individual, then actually becoming wealthy is something I would consider to be a duty, because your ability to do good things in the world to your friends, your families, the people you love, and even your community or the larger community of the world, that starts to skyrocket. Now, here's a couple of promises I want to make in terms of the things that we will be covering over the next few days. Number one, I'd like to show you the keys in terms of how you think, how you behave, what you do, what you recognize, how you educate yourself, and so on, that will make you wealthier than you will allow yourself to dream of right now. Let me just put this quite straight. A lot of you, if I say you want to be rich, hands go up, right? But if I ask you, how rich can you actually be? How much are you going to actually aim for? For a lot of people, the ceiling starts coming down to what's quote-unquote realistic, 600,000, 500,000, 100,000, who knows? By the time we finish here, I'm going to show you how to reach that ceiling so high that right now it would scare you to even think about it. And it is actually within very graspable, within your means. I'll give an example, and I will talk about this later a little bit more. I'm going to show you how a little old lady from, I don't know, somewhere in the Midwest in America, I think it was, who had no formal education, never had a, should we say, a white-collar job. She was always wearing very basic jobs like fish filleting and so on. She ended up with a personal fortune of $4.5 million. And I'm going to show you exactly how she did that. Would you like to know? So in the course of this program, we'll show you exactly how she did that, and it's replicable. Anyone can do it if they apply themselves in a certain way. Does that make sense? I'd like to expose to you the key mental mistakes that keep the poor poor and the middle class struggling. I'd like to show you how income has absolutely no bearing on wealth. You can have someone like the little old lady who was basically working an hourly wage, a basic income. I doubt she ever made more than $10 an hour. And she ended up with $4.5 million. And how someone else, a doctor or a lawyer, might make $1 million a year, but end up with nothing. It's a mindset. The mindset dictates certain habits. Those habits create wealth or destroy it. I'd like to show you the exact habits that destroy wealth so you can stop them if you find yourself in that route. I'd like to show you the exact habits that actually create wealth so you can encourage them and do more of them. Does that make sense? I have a big grab bag here, so I'm just going to choose some of the highlights here for you, mate, because otherwise we'll be here for like 2 days just telling you what we'll be doing the next 2 days, right? One of the keys here is the super rich look at the world with a different set of eyes. Let me give you an example, and we'll unfold this more as we go through. Anyone here ever wear sort of colored, tinted glasses, like rose or red or something like that? And you notice how the world changes. There are certain colors you can no longer distinguish. You have a pink piece of paper, a red piece of paper, a white piece of paper. If you're wearing red glasses, they all look the same, don't they? The things that people do when they are keeping themselves poor or struggling in the middle class is that their minds have a certain filter, much like those glasses. And all the opportunities that will make them wealthy. Right now, believe it or not, every single person in this room has more than ample opportunities existing in your life. You know about them already to make you over $1 million. They exist right this minute. And the only reason you're thinking inside your mind right now, no way. I know some of you are like, he doesn't know my life. There's no way I have it. If I had those opportunities, I'd take them right now. But the only reason you're not taking those opportunities is because you cannot see them. There's a filter in place. It will delete certain information because you don't even know to look for it. You're not sensitized to it. So I'm going to show you how to see the world through wealthy eyes, where you will see just an abundance, an overabundance of possibilities for making so much money you'll wake up every morning grinning from ear to ear, thanking God for just one more day. Let me see some other little things we have here ready for you. Yeah, I mean, we could go on all day here, but really, what I'm looking here to do is, you know the fairy tale of the goose that laid the golden egg? Now, one thing which we'll come on to very, very, very soon is most people come across at least a dozen of these geese in their lifetime. But you know what they do when they find these geese? They kill them, they have dinner, they go, that was nice. When am I ever going to make my fortune? Everyone in this room have lived long enough that you've had at least 4, 5, 6 big opportunities like this. Some of you have taken them, and it's been great. Some of you have taken it for a while, and just like in the fairy tale, after a while you thought, I want more. Let's see where this goose is getting it from. And then you open it up, and then, of course, the goose was dead. And some of you have never even seen the goose. You ate it, it was tasty, you didn't even think about it, it tastes a bit like chicken. I'd like to show you how to recognize those geese and how to actually care for them so that they end up caring for you. Because one of the things that you want to be focusing on